What's up, my peeps? I'm back after 2 weeks or over 2 weeks of being away. I was attacked backstage by a mystery attacker, but hey, I'm here now, and I'm here to talk about, as you can tell by the title, the Royal Rumble pay-per-view, one of the best pay-per-views of the year, maybe even better than Wrestlemania for the Rumble match itself. I love the Rumble match, and usually this time of year I talk about who might return, who might show up, the surprises, maybe debuts, this and that in the match, because we always see those in the Rumble matches. But I don't feel like it this year, so I'm not going to talk about that. I'm not going to speculate on who might be a surprise entrant. Instead, I want to talk about who wins the match. So I'm going to mention, or I'm going to talk about the Women's Rumble and the Men's Rumble, who wins that and who wins this. So I'm going to start it off with the Women's Royal Rumble, and I think it's pretty clear by now. It's pretty simple. It's obviously going to be one of these three matches at WrestleMania. Match number 1, Ronda versus Becky. Number 2, Ronda versus Becky and Charlotte in a triple threat. Number 3, Ronda versus Charlotte. But that last one is extremely unlikely compared to the other two, because Ronda versus Charlotte already happened at Survivor Series, and despite the finish, despite it being a screwy finish of disqualification and no clear winner was had that night, still, it's not a fresh match, it's not a new match, it already happened at Survivor Series, so the chances of it happening at WrestleMania over the other two matches is unlikely. Now, if you can't see any of these three matches happening at WrestleMania, and you see something like totally different, like let's say Ronda versus Tamina Snuka at WrestleMania, I don't know what to tell you. You're probably the type that thinks that Nia Jax and The Big Show are the clear favorites in the Rumble because of their size advantage, and like who the hell is gonna throw them over the top rope, right? Or that R-Truth and Carmella, because they're coming in at number 30, actually have an advantage over the other superstars who are, you know, in the Rumble for a couple minutes while they're coming in fresh. So, going back to what I was saying, it's gotta be either Charlotte or Becky winning the Rumble, maybe even the two of them. That's a possibility. Option number 1 is they have Charlotte winning the Rumble. Thing is though, with that option, you have the crowd booing it most likely. But they can easily fix that by having Becky squeezed in there somehow. You know, you have her beat Charlotte in a match after the Rumble, and then she's like, yo, I just beat the #1 contender, put me in that match, bam, triple threat match, you got it. There's tons of ways to do it. Option number 2 is you have Becky win the Rumble. I'm pretty sure the crowd is going to be pretty positive to that. And then you squeeze in Charlotte in there somehow, and you have a triple threat. Like I said, you can have Charlotte beat Becky in a match, and she's like, yo, just beat the #1 contender, bam, triple threat match. They really seem to want to squeeze in Charlotte in there somehow, and that's why the match at Survivor Series ended the way it did, and that's why when Ronda interfered at TLC, she did not just push over Becky, but she pushed over both Becky and Flair. It's clear they want her in there, they want her still involved with Ronda and Becky. Probably so she gets those 16 title reigns just like her father. Who cares? It's likely gonna happen, and she's likely gonna be in the match somehow at Mania. So yeah, option 1, Charlotte wins, Becky gets in there somehow. Option 2, Becky wins, Charlotte gets in there somehow. We've seen this scenario so many times before. Christopher Benoit winning the Rumble, and then it turns into a triple threat with Shawn Michaels and Triple H for the World Heavyweight Championship at Mania. And then Rey Mysterio winning the Rumble, bam, triple threat match for the World Heavyweight Championship. Batista wins the Rumble, bam, triple threat match for the World Heavyweight Championship once again. So it can't happen. Option number 3, which is fitting because it's number 3 and I'm talking about triple threats here, both of them fall off the ring at the same time, feet touch the floor at the same time. Only problem with that is it could go wrong and one of them falls out the ring before the other, or the feet touch the floor before the other. But then again, we've seen them pretend that Luke Harper and AJ Styles fell out the ring and touched the floor at the same time before, so I guess that's not a problem. But also a problem with that is people might just go, well, why don't you just do a sudden death and have them restart it until one person lands outside the ring. But anyways, assuming they pull it off, they do it, it's a draw, both of them choose to go after Ronda, and there you go, triple threat match. So yeah, there's tons of ways to do it, and that's likely the match at WrestleMania, triple threat match. If it's one-on-one, it's most likely going to be Ronda versus Becky rather than Ronda versus Charlotte, because once again, Ronda vs. Becky is a fresh match. It's the match that was supposed to happen but didn't happen, which makes people want to see it even more compared to Ronda vs. Charlotte, which we've already seen and people don't want to see as much as Ronda vs. Becky. So that's it for the Women's Rumble. I don't see any other women winning that match other than one of those two or the both of them. Now, as far as the Men's Rumble goes, for that one, initially AJ Styles was one of my picks. But now AJ is fighting Daniel Bryan for the WWE Championship, so he's in the title match. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that he's not going to compete in the Rumble, because we've seen it before. We've seen Roman compete in the championship match, and then he's in the Rumble that same night. We've seen, I think, Kurt Angle do the same thing as well. So it's been done before, but I'd say chances are a lot less likely now. Actually, now I see a totally different match for AJ Styles at WrestleMania. Now I've got two picks. Number one is John Cena. I actually see him as a possibility now that he's actually going to compete in the Rumble. Initially, people were like, oh, he's not going to compete in the Rumble because he's busy filming a movie. He's not going to be there. He might not even be at WrestleMania. But now that he's in the Rumble, I see him as a potential winner. I could actually see him win the match. And if he wins the match, I could see him going after Daniel Bryan or Brock Lesnar. I could see the both of those. And he'd go for number 17. So they might want to go with John Cena just to use John Cena while they can, just so they can use John Cena while they can, give him that number 17 while they can, because he's getting more and more involved in movies and Hollywood. So if they can use him, if he can actually compete at WrestleMania and show up for a couple Raws and SmackDowns prior to WrestleMania, I could see him being the Rumble winner. But option number two is who I actually think is more likely to win the Men's Rumble, and that is from Raw, Seth Rollins. I think they see Seth Rollins as the next top face for Raw. Now that Roman Reigns is not there at the moment, I think they're looking at Seth Rollins as the top face of Raw. No, for those of you who are going to say, oh no, Braun Strowman, he's the top face of Raw, he's challenging Brock Lesnar, he's going to beat him. I think it's pretty clear by now that they don't see Braun Strowman as better than Brock Lesnar. How many times has Braun Strowman versus Brock been done? He's faced off against Brock so many times. I'm not just talking about the one-on-one matches, but all those multi-man matches that he's had with Brock Lesnar. Every single time it's the same result. Brock Lesnar wins. I'm tired of seeing the match. I'm not even looking forward to the match at the Royal Rumble, but I know that at the end of the day, it's going to be the same result. Brock Lesnar is going to beat Braun Strowman. I don't think they see Braun Strowman as the top face. Maybe one of the top faces, but not the top face. Seth Rollins, on the other hand, he in 2018 beat both John Cena and Roman Reigns in the same match. The gauntlet match lasted over an hour, pinned both of them in that same match. He won the Intercontinental Championship twice and main evented pay-per-views over the WWE Championship, the top championship pretty much. Or, I guess, one of the top championship, because, you know, it's pretty much never main evented when AJ Styles was the champion and, you know, was in these pay-per-views with Raw and SmackDown on them at the same time. But anyways, he's done a lot, and I think it's pretty clear they like Seth Rollins. And I'm pretty sure Seth Rollins is going to be the guy to challenge Brock Lesnar or Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania for the Universal Championship and maybe even take the championship from him. And I can totally see him being like, yo, I'm doing this for Roman Reigns. I won this title, or dedicating this match to Roman Reigns. And plus, Seth Rollins is one of, if not the biggest focus on Raw right now. Despite not holding any championship, he's main eventing the shows. And they've got this whole thing going on where Triple H wants to see the old Seth Rollins, you know, more vicious Seth Rollins, a more ruthless Seth Rollins, and Seth Rollins is giving him that. We saw last week when he went ahead and took out both Bobby Lashley and Lio Rush with the steel chairs, getting himself disqualified, and then proceeding to hit a really nice looking curb stomp, by the way, which if you haven't seen already, go ahead and check that out. Also, on Twitter, I did say that in my opinion, was the best sell of the curb stomp from Lio Rush. And then on this week's Raw, he smacks the coffee out of Triple H's hand, and he gets booked in a Falls Count Anywhere match for the IC title in the main event. Raw, like I said, he's main eventing, he's the focus, despite not holding any championship. And speaking of championships, him dropping the Intercontinental Championship so close to the Rumble is an indication to me that he's heading towards that main championship once again. Because oftentimes, when main eventers drop the mid-card titles, it's to go back to the main title, the world title, or in this case, the Universal Championship. So, those are my picks for the Rumbles this year. Charlotte or Becky for the Women's Rumble, maybe even a draw. As far as the Men's Rumble, Seth Rollins as my top pick, most likely to win the Rumble, and John Cena as a distant, and I mean very, very distant, second. Like, so distant, you can't even see the guy. And also, keep in mind, with these videos, one thing you can always expect from me is I give you my prediction, which means what I actually think is going to happen, and I don't let what I want to see happen influence that. So in the comment section, I want you guys to do the same. Give me your prediction for both the Women's Royal Rumble and the Men's Rumble match. Who do you think is going to win the Women's and Men's, and which champion are they going to go after at WrestleMania. The Rumble's like 3 weeks away from now. Looking forward to it. Hopefully it's a good one. But usually the Rumbles tend to be good. Even a Rumble that's not so good, I tend to like it just because you never know who comes out next. Except of course for number 30, who we know is R-Truth this year, and Carmella in the Women's Rumble. Which, by the way, speaking of that, I do hope that R-Truth shows up at number 30 for the Women's Rumble, just because it'd be funny. Anyways, I'm out. See ya.